Hello everyone, welcome to this session on unlocked packages. We're really excited to have you all. I know you have a lot of options and we'll try our best over the next 40 minutes to make this worth your time. I'm Dilip Berkey. I'm a product manager in Salesforce DX and I manage a bunch of products including unlocked packages.
Hi, I'm Kevin Cripps and I'm the engineering lead for the packaging team.
And my name is Thomas Brown. I'm another software developer on the team.
This is the forward-looking statement that you must have seen and you'll be seeing it many, many times. So please make your decisions based on existing technology. In terms of agenda, I will use the next few minutes to set the stage for why you should use unlocked packages and how you embrace package-based development model. But we have reserved the bulk of this session for demos. We have lined up a set of demos that Thomas and Kevin will be doing to showcase the capabilities of unlocked packaging. We have tried to reserve some time for Q&A, but if you don't get to answer your question, the three of us will be outside the breakout room or would love to continue the engagement. And before I move ahead, a quick show of hands if you are already using Salesforce DX. Okay. A quick show of hands if you have built an unlocked package, one unlocked package. Okay. And a quick show of hands if you have deployed an unlocked package in production. Oh, wow, this is very encouraging. Okay. Salesforce DX, as you know, is our attempt at reimagining how you can do application lifecycle management. We have not picked one aspect of ALM. We have tried to improve the end-to-end experience. And as part of it, unlocked packages is one of the foundational products. If you are a customer or a system integrator, to adopt a package-based deployment and organization model. And if I can describe unlocked packages in a sentence, it embraces the flexibility of a simple metadata deploy and adds the richness of a package-based development model so that you can embrace modular packaging model that most companies use. And the great thing is, we've been talking about unlocked packages for a while. It's going to be generally available in Winter 19. All demos that we're going to do in this session is off of Winter 19 or Summer 18 code, so we are not showcasing some future-looking stuff. If you like what you see, you can use it when you go back to your work after Dreamforce. In terms of benefits, I mean, many of you may already know this, unlocked packages embraces the source-driven development model that Salesforce DX preaches. One of the foundational benefits of unlocked packages compared to change sets or metadata deploy is that it supports versioning so that you build the first version of your app, you deploy to production, you can iterate on it based on new feature requests from your end users, bugs that you find. The versioning model makes packaging very, very compelling. And also we have kept in mind that you would want to build small modular packages. So it's very important that there is a rich framework for expressing dependencies that packaging supports. All this means that when you start looking at an artifact for your continuous integration, continuous delivery, packaging can serve that. If you're looking at organizing your metadata that is already present in your production orgs, again, you can use unlocked packages. And one thing that we keep talking about is we are not coming to the community and saying you all have to embrace the packaging model. Instead, we are providing it as an additional option for you to look at how you do your ALM. So you will continue to do org-based development model using change sets, using sandboxes that may suit in many use cases. In addition to that, we are offering packaging where you use scratch orgs, CLI, and DX to start seeing how you can slowly move to a package-based development model. And the best way to showcase that is today, if you really look at what you have in your production org, you have a set of App Exchange apps which basically use what we call managed packages in the background. So you are already using the packaging framework when you use App Exchange apps. But the rest of your metadata is unpackaged, whether you're using change sets or metadata deploy. The hope is as you slowly start embracing unlocked packages, more and more of your metadata gets into unlocked packages, and over a period of time, your production org looks something like this, where you have a set of modular packages, and you're assured that when you do an upgrade or you change anything, you're only touching that aspect of metadata, because packaging strictly follows the construct that it owns a set of metadata and it's unambiguous. Like you don't have a piece of metadata in an org being owned by more than one package. So it makes change management and tracking much easier. Again, as I promised, we will reserve most of the time for demos. So the first demo is more of a hello world demo to showcase how you work with unlocked packages. Second and third demo showcases two very powerful concepts of packaging, versioning and dependencies. The last two demos showcases some of the intermediate or advanced concepts that we have developed as part of Winter 19. And at this stage, I'll hand it over to Kevin and Thomas, and they have lined up these demos for you.
Great, thank you, Dilip. So Dilip likes to call it the Hello World demo, but I like to call it the Hello Dreamforce demo because I'm excited to be at Dreamforce, and it's really cool to see everybody here in the audience that's interested in what we've been working on. So let's start out with a scenario. So you have your development team. They've been working on a particular app. We have a fitness manager application that we're going to show you here. And you've been developing it for a few sprints, but now your release manager is ready to set up a continuous integration process. You want to set up a QA functional test environment so you can do this testing on a weekly basis. And so how do you get an unlock package set up? So 3 basic steps to starting to build an unlock package. So first, you create a package. So this is the framework in which you're going to build everything else on top of. Next, you're going to create a package version. So the package version is a snapshot of your source. And so this is the thing that you're going to iterate on. And then finally, you take your package version and you can install it into your org. All right, let's see this in action. So Thomas is trying to set up the, OK, so we're going to switch to our IDE. And here we go. All right, so we switch to our IDE, and we have a workspace. We've logged into a Dev Hub environment. We have a repo that has our source. And we have this SFDX project JSON file, which you see it has a package directory section. And it has kind of a skeleton for the package that we're going to work with. So the very first thing you do is issue this package create command. So in this demo, we're going to work with the CLI command, specifically force package set of commands. So the force package create requires that you specify a type, of course, unlocked for us. Optionally, you can specify a namespace. You have a path that is the path to your source. So that's your source directory. And then finally, just some unique name that you're going to work with. You issue the command. It completes very quickly in this case. And what you'll see is up top, the SFDX project JSON has been updated. And I'll note a couple of key elements here. So the package directory has automatically been populated with the package, the version name, and the version number. And you can modify those if the defaults aren't acceptable. And then we have a package aliases section down below. So this is something that we've added somewhat recently based on feedback that people don't want to have to keep track of IDs, and they want to work with some intuitive names. So in this case, we auto-populate this section for you. Give it an alias that you can work with for the rest of your operations. OK, so you can run the package list command. That just gives you a history of what you've created. As you can see, we're very prolific developers. We have lots of packages going. And now we're ready to create a package version. So the package version, again, this is the thing that as you make bug fixes, as you add features, you're going to create a package version. And it takes an installation key. The installation key is what hides this from prying eyes. Now, in the future, we want to offer some advanced security mechanisms. But available today, we have the installation key. The definition file. So this is a configuration file that is going to specify the shape of your org. So we have features, like you can see up there. Features are things that are predefined features by Salesforce that your application may require. Org preference settings, things like this. So previously, if you've worked with this a year ago, you might have noticed that there was a separate section in SFDX project JSON for doing packaging, and then we had this kind of thing for Scratch org creation. We've combined those into one place so that both features can utilize the same format. And then lastly, the package that you want to install this version with, or that you want to create the version for. So you run the command. We can use this package version create report command to see the progression of it. And for our purposes, for the demo, this can take a few minutes. So we're just going to switch to a pre-built one that we've already have created for you. Package aliases section up top. The thing to note is that we've added an alias for that package version. And we can do things like the package version list for our particular package, and it gives us the history of what we created. So finally, we're ready to install. So at this point, the installation is quite straightforward. You'll give it the installation key that you used and the package version. You run the install, and then very similarly, you can report on it. And in this case, we have some RSS and CSP metadata in there, so we're just going to have you grant authorization to make sure it's OK to go to those websites. And then, as I was saying, you can do an install report, check the progress on it. So once the install is complete, we can go ahead and move over to the UI, and let's see how this metadata looks when we actually look at it in the org itself. So previously, we had chain sets, we had metadata deploys. These were effective mechanisms of moving metadata into your org, but it was very easy over time to lose track of the history of that metadata, and it could very easily get lost in your happy soup, and you didn't have that trackability that we're trying to provide with unlocked packages. So here's the package installation page. You can see the package has been installed. We can view all the components that are part of this installed package. And we can pick out one of those components, look at the detail page, and we can see that on the detail page, it traces back to the package itself. Thomas is finding the perfect component.
Check out this one. This one's a good one.
OK. And so at the top, you can see the banner there. It tells you it's part of a package. And then if you look at the package information section, it tells you exactly what version it came from. So that concludes our demo 1, but we've got several more, so we'll keep on rolling. So the next thing that we're going to talk about here.
We'll close out these ones, Kevin.
Sure thing.
Your PowerPoint back.
So the next thing that we're going to talk about is package versioning. So as Dilip mentioned, package versioning is a very powerful thing. And even for this demo, I guarantee you, demo version 2.0 is going to be even better than demo version 1.0. So let's move on. What's your scenario? Simple this time. We're just going to iterate. We're going to make improvements to the application. So as Dilip has already mentioned, packaging promotes building it once and installing it anywhere. But packaging also offers versioning, and this offers a lot more. So we can iterate and improve on your application. We can install different versions and trace that metadata in your org to the version that installed it. And we can consistently and reliably deploy your application. So just to reiterate, as we've talked about, unlock packaging, it's repeatable, it's scriptable, and it's trackable. So let's see versioning in action. So we're going to start off with our Fitness Manager application in its very early stages. And so we have it installed here. We can look at the components. So it's very, very rudimentary at this point, but we have a field, a custom object that we're going to work with to log information. And let's take a look at that field. So the field is a simple Boolean field. As we just saw, it's associated with a package. And here's a report. And look, we already have some customer data entered. And I would say that we pretty much nailed it first time around. What do you think, Thomas?
I don't know about that, Kevin. I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it'd be nice to have different levels of intensity instead of making it so binary.
That's a good point. We can always do better. So let's see what we can do with package versioning to create another iteration of this. OK, so Thomas, my star developer here, he's going to fix this up. So he's going to remove the old Boolean field, and he's going to replace it with a pick list field. Now, we could have just modified the type rather than actually deleting the field and adding a new one. But that runs some danger, because as we've seen, there's already some customer data there, and we could corrupt that customer data if we just change the type. So we'll see how this is a safer way to do it as we move on. So we have the new pick list. And all we have to do at this point is update the version number in the project JSON file. And we'll bump that up to 2.0, and then we'll create our second version. So we've already created this for you. And so now what we're going to do is we're ready to take that version and we're going to install it. But this time we're going to install it through the UI. So this is another option for those of you that aren't already familiar. You can install it through the CLI, but you may have admins who are more comfortable or just able to do it through the UI. And this provides a very similar mechanism to how you would take a package, you would download a package from AppExchange and install it into your org. So the upgrade's in process. It's completed. Now, what can we do when we upgrade a package? So we can add new things to the package. We can update things in the package, or we can delete things in the package. But let's talk about the delete for a moment. There's an additional thing that can happen when you delete called deprecate. Some of you, I'm sure, are familiar with this. But for those of you that aren't, deprecate in the Salesforce packaging concept means that that component still exists in the org, but it's been marked in a special state called deprecated. And this is for our exact case when we have something like a field that we've removed, but it has user data associated with it. So that user data should be exported using some script ideally, and then possibly migrated. And then you can go in and delete that through some other mechanism once the data is safe. So here we have our 2.0. You can see it's been upgraded. And when we look at the list of components, we have the old field, which we'll see is in a deprecated state, and then we have the new field that's been added. And so Thomas is loading up the old field. You can see the banner at the top says it's been marked deprecated, and it has the original version down there. And then here's our report with the upgraded package. You can see our old field's gone, and our new one's there ready to accept new data. So that's a very simple example of how you can utilize versioning, but you can imagine there's a lot of richness here as you get into more complex applications. So at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Thomas, and he's going to talk about packages and dependencies.
Thank you, Kevin. Hi, so one of the big features of unlocked packages is your ability to express dependencies on other packages. A dependent unlocked packages may not give you a tax break, but it'll give your developers and release managers a break. Thank you, Kevin. So advantages of using dependencies. First is modularity. You can break things up. You don't have a kind of a monolith. You kind of break things up into logical, distinct units. Separation of concerns. Each package in our case will have its own responsibilities that they'll be responsible for, and that makes it easier to keep it straight in your head and follow good design practices. So you can kind of think of these, you can do them two different ways. You can either depend on an unlocked package that you have made yourself, or you can depend on a package that you have purchased from AppExchange. You can do either one. So these are kind of the two, I guess you could think of them maybe as flavors. All right, so let's see what this might look like if you were doing this inside your org, what your configuration might look like, and what we would do if we wanted to make this work. You have to close the PowerPoint I just covered. OK, so let's paint the scenario for us. We are in charge of a company, and our employees do a lot of traveling. And hence, we've made this new application. We call it Expense Manager. We're very happy with it. It does exactly what we want. But as we've grown and we've become more profitable and we've made more money, we realized that a lot of our employees are taking international trips. And this opens up some use cases that we hadn't considered originally when we started making our Expense Manager package. Things like maybe translations, things like maybe multi-currency. So we really want to extend our old package to make it work with these new features. But we don't want to just throw it all in there, because we really view these as kind of logically distinct chunks of functionality. So what we want to do is we want to make a new package. We call it the International Package Manager that has these new features in it. So let's say we've done this. This is how we would specify our package JSON to make sure that we set up our dependencies correctly. So as you can see in here, Kevin is highlighting, we have created a different node for our International Expense Manager that's distinct from our Expense Manager, which you can see above that. The only difference between these two is we've added a dependencies node on the inside, nested inside. And in that dependencies node, we specify a package that this package depends on. International Expense Manager depends on Expense Manager, and then a version number. In our case, version 2.7.14.latest. Latest is just some syntactical sugar that allows us to depend on the most recent build of the dependent package. So that's just nice so that you don't have to go in and edit your configurations every time you do a new build of a package. It will just know that because you have the latest keyword in there. OK, so what we would do after we specify that is we could build our package. It would be included in the build path of our package, so it was build well. And then when we were installing the package, it would enforce this on install. So if you didn't have the dependent package installed, your installation would fail. Cool. So that's the first use case. In the second use case, let's say we didn't build our Expense Manager package. Let's say instead we downloaded it and purchased it from AppExchange. You can also depend on that package. Maybe you're happy with that package, but again, you want to add more functionality to it. You want to make international travel work in this application. So in that case, you could specify your International Expense Manager package inside your JSON. And then for a dependency, you could specify Expense Manager. This is just an alias. It's defined at the bottom. But this points to a 04T ID, which represents a package that you got off AppExchange. So you make your functionality, you build your package, and then that package will depend on the AppExchange package, and everything will be good to go. Great, and then for our third use case, we talked about one or the other. We've done some kind of simple use cases, but you're not limited to that by any means. You can go in and define multiple dependencies on multiple packages, and it should all work out OK. One thing to note is that the dependencies that you specify, you have to specify the whole dependency tree because these dependencies are not transitive. It's on our roadmap to make these transitive, but right now you specify the whole dependency tree. And so, for example, these all depend on each other in the proper order. We properly ordered these. And then when you build a package, again, it'll be added to your build path. And then when you install, they'll be enforced on installation. Cool. Thanks. So this is a little bit of a perspective on how dependencies work from the developer side. So let's take a look at how they might work from we call it subscriber side in the packaging world. You can think of it as when you're putting it in your production org. So with multiple interdependent packages, like you've defined in your JSON file, it's becoming difficult to set up scripts for spinning up dev, CI, QA environments where all the required packages are pre-installed. So this is a feature that we built because of feedback from you all. So thank you for giving us a good feedback, and we'll continue to hopefully find good features to add for situations like this. So with this, we kind of have a I don't know if I want to say prongs, a two-step approach. The first thing that we did is we changed our API so that the dependencies could be queried with the tooling query. So many of you might be familiar. Oh, thanks. Many of you might be familiar with the subscriber package version object. If not, it's just an object that you can do API calls against, and it gives you information about a particular package. So if you want to know information about dependencies, you can now query against this object to figure them out. So if you do the query, it'll give you back a list of packages that you need to install prior to installing your target package. And then the second thing we've done is we've written a sample script that will kind of use this API to install the packages in order for you. So you're welcome to use that script or to write your own, but the infrastructure is there to allow you to do that. So let's see what this might look like in your JSON file. OK, so actually Kevin has this queued up. It's just a way to do a tooling query from the CLI. So what we've done is he's issued the query. He's given it the install key because you need that to get information at the package that is protected by an install key. And then it's coming back. And the meat of this is the dependencies node you'll see below. And this package in particular depends on 3 other packages. Those are the 04Ts. And so he will run our script that we've made, and we'll publish this as well. So you're welcome to incorporate this as part of your CI job or run it by itself. It's completely up to you. And what it'll do is it'll iterate through these dependencies that it got back from the API call, install them one at a time, and then eventually install the target dependency, or the target package that you're attempting to install in the first place. Cool. And this will go on until it installs the package, so we're not going to wait around for that. But I think we will move on to our 5th and final demo. This one is about metadata refactor.
All righty, thank you, Thomas. So our last demo, it can get a little bit complicated, so bear with me, but I'm going to try to set it up as best as possible. So we're talking about how do you move metadata from one package to another. And so this is highlighting a feature that we're bringing to you in Winter 19. So we're constantly trying to add features to unlock packages and make it more easier to work with. And since refactoring is one of the key things that we're trying to do with DX and with unlock packaging, we're trying to make this a simpler process. So let's go back to the medieval period, otherwise known as Summer 18. So this is how you would move metadata from package A to package B. So first, cancel your dinner plans. Sorry about that, Thomas. Could be a long night. So you're going to start by deleting metadata from package A. This is the stuff that you want to move to package B, and you're going to create a new version. You're going to upgrade your production orgs with that new version, version 2 of package A. And now, as we kind of discussed before, it's quite likely that a lot of your stuff is going to be deprecated because it has user data associated with it. So assuming that's the case, you're going to have to go in and back up all that data. Then you can manually delete the deprecated data. And then depending on how you're doing things, you may have dependencies on that stuff you're trying to delete that you're going to have to untangle. And then finally, you're ready to add that metadata back to package B version 1, and then you can install it into your production orgs. And then you can restore your user data.
Kevin, I'm starving.
Maybe there's time for breakfast in the morning. All right. The good news, Thomas, is we've moved into the Renaissance period, otherwise known as Winter 19. So this is what you do to move that metadata from package A to package B. So first, you're going to do the same thing as before, delete that metadata from package A, create a version 2. Then you're going to upgrade your production orgs to version 2, just as you did before. And so anything that had a dependency that was on the thing that you're trying to delete will be automatically set into a deprecated state. So now you can add that metadata to package B, create the version, install it in the production org. Now, previously, the installation would have failed when you did this, which is why we had to go through that rigmarole to delete everything. But now what we've done is allowed all that metadata that's in the deprecated state that we have in package B, it'll recognize all this under the covers, and it'll reassign everything to package B and take it out of the deprecated state. Now, you can leave work early, and since Thomas and I are from Boulder, Colorado, we would just go enjoy a kale salad and some gluten-free beer. All right, so let's see what this actually looks like in an org. So just to set it up a little bit. So we're moving metadata from one package to another. We know that. We have this initial package. We've created 2 versions. So the first version, .1, is this monolithic thing that we know we need to break up because it's been growing and growing and growing. .5 is the new package that we're going to upgrade to. And the new version that we're going to upgrade to. I said new package. And so then we have our new package. And so we have this .1 with our refactored metadata in it. So we'll go ahead and see what that looks like in the org. So what we've done is we've staged 2 orgs that have this set up. So the first org that we're going to look at has that that first package installed with version 1 base package in there, and then it's been upgraded to .5. So you can see it's on the .5. So let's go in and see what the org looks like in this case. So here's our component list, and there's an aerobic exercise package that was in there that was an Apex. I said aerobic exercise controller that was in there. It was an Apex class, and so it's been deleted because there's no data associated with an Apex class.
Trust us, it's gone.
Trust us, it's gone. Can't you tell? Then if we move on here to a custom field that was also migrated over, we can see that this thing has been deleted. And so I'm just showing you a couple things here, but the idea is that we had hundreds, maybe 1,000 components that we're moving over. So this isn't something that you want to do as a manual process. You need some automated way of doing this. So this thing is in a deprecated state. And so now we'll take a look at the second org that we have staged. So this thing has both packages installed. So we've installed our new package, and so that's the one at the top. And you can see our aerobic exercise controller is back. It's part of the new package. And our custom field, that recipe custom field, is there as well. You can see now it says it's marked as an unlocked package. And if we look at the package that it's associated with, that's our new package, and it's the .1 version of our new package. So that concludes our demos. Thanks for bearing with us. I know that was a lot of information, but I hope it was helpful. And I'm going to hand it back over to Delete.
Hey, thanks a lot, Kevin and Thomas. A lot of these things we built in direct result of interactions and feedback we got from you. So please continue to give that. Quickly recapping, unlocked packages is designed for customers and system integrators. It's something that is GA. It's not a beta or a pilot product. You're more than welcome to using this. And as we highlighted, Adopting unlocked packages is not an all or none affair. You can gradually adopt them, and that may be the best way for you to have success. It is designed keeping in mind all other aspects of Salesforce DX, so this is not a silo product that we built in isolation, so it works well with VS Code, with the CLI, and with everything that's part of Salesforce DX. And finally, we hope that it will pave the way for you to adopt more modern package-based development models when you are building and deploying apps on Salesforce platform. With this, we want to open up the floor. If you have any questions, please come to this mic, and we would love to answer it. Yeah.
One of the things that we've been trying to sort out is how to enable our admins to also participate in this development process. And so I'd be interested to hear what you guys think about how we're going to move forward with enabling that work that admins do in the org to get captured up as part of a package and get promoted.
Yes, so we have thought a lot about how we can bring admins into the equation, and you can see some pieces of it already working in place. For example, the entire installation experience and how you manage metadata after it's been deployed in an unlocked package is very similar to how you do it with an AppExchange app, so that the admins don't have to install the CLI to do things. On the development side, we have a lot of thoughts around how developers can set up Scratch orgs, create an account for the admin, so that the admin can come and build a process builder and other things that can be used to leverage admins playing into the equation. And we can talk more about it. We have some ideas around how we are doing that. But yes, we very much want admins to be part of this equation.
Are forced push updates to customer orgs allowed with this unlocked package?
Are you talking about the push upgrades functionality?
Yes.
Okay, so push upgrades is something that is on the roadmap for unlocked packages. Currently, we don't support that. The expectation is initially, since we are building this, keeping customers in mind, since you own all the orgs, you can script the installation process. But we do want to support the push upgrades capability for unlocked packages. It's on our roadmap.
I guess the biggest takeaway for me in this is the gradual get into the slowly built packages. But I'm not talking about an ISV, I'm not talking about an app, I'm talking about Sales Cloud. Mm-hmm. We've tried and failed multiple times to move our Sales Cloud into DX. Mm-hmm. So that we are still sticking around with chain sets and separate repositories for code and Ant and all that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. What do you have recommendations or do you have directions on people using Sales Cloud to move to DX?
So when you talk about moving Sales Cloud, I presume you're talking about customizations that you have made to Sales Cloud.
Yes, customizations.
So absolutely. So one of the things that we are running inside the company, which is a very big initiative, is what we call the Metadata One initiative. And as part of the Metadata One initiative, we want to make sure that every piece of metadata on Salesforce platform is supported in Metadata API, supported in unlocked packages, and supported in Salesforce DX. I would love to talk to you offline about the kinds of challenges you're facing, but if anything, with every release, you should see more and more metadata types supported, so that if you are extending Sales Cloud functionality, you should be able to put all of those things in an unlocked package. But I would love to have this conversation. And the other quick thing that I want to talk to you about is this whole metadata coverage report that we have, so that you have visibility in knowing for every piece of metadata, what are the channels where we support that. So that's something that was like a secret sauce that we were holding, but we are making it very available to you so that you have visibility into what is supported and what's not supported.
Understood. I'll probably hang on and talk.
Yes, I would love to talk.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Hey, what strategy do you guys recommend if you've got metadata that is integral to, let's say, multiple different applications, and you want to separate those into two different packages?
Like
I'm thinking like a custom field, for instance.
Yes. So the general recommendation that we have is there are multiple ways in which you break up or untangle your org. What works best in the first iteration is trying to look at applications vertically rather than horizontally. So instead of breaking up your metadata into schema, logic, and UI, you have better luck in trying to breaking things down vertically. And it's okay in the initial stage, and this is something that I've told many people, it's okay in the initial stage for you to not include things in your unlocked packages that are difficult to manage, like profiles or page layouts that spans across packages. So the way packaging is designed, it's very easy for you to first have the iteration of metadata that is easy to manage, and then progressively add more metadata into your thing. We, in fact, are launching a Trailhead module solely dedicated to how you can untangle the org. And you can look it up on Trailhead, and if you don't, reach out to me, I'll help you with that.
Thanks.
Hi. Now that there was a mention regarding those metadata fields, a bit of different approach when it comes to dependencies that are not found on the App Exchange and not on the org that you have yourself, and not packaged like stuff from other vendors.
Can you elaborate a little more on this?
Well, we have this one package from one of the. Well, you can find some of it from the App Exchange, but not all of it. And it's kind of a dependency regarding our org in otherwise. So anything regarding that stuff?
So as long as it's a package that's installed in your production org, you can always run the force package installed list command, get the 040s, and declare it as a dependency the way Thomas showed. That should work.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything wrong with that. I think any 040 ID.
Yeah, if it doesn't work, I would love to hear from you. Like, let's talk about it.
Hi, my question is actually, it looks a bit like Node.js packages. So do you plan to introduce some kind of package manager or something like this? So I saw a big shell script you used to install dependencies, but do you plan to like do something like NPM, for example?
We have, so if you look at it so we have various conversations around whether we can use App Exchange as a mechanism to extend it to support code modules and list them there. The other thought process is building some kind of a package manager that's going to help you visualize and go and find out packages.
Wasn't there something called App Hub that we built?
Yes. So you said that. Yeah, App Hub was an attempt, and it stayed at dev preview and it did not move. We are actively talking about doing those things, but at this moment, our priority is building stuff that the ecosystem cannot build, like the core framework around the CLI and the packaging. We still feel the package manager can be something that can be visualized, so that's relatively lower priority, but we have spoken extensively about it. And you may start hearing about that at Trailhead DX next year.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, okay, 5 minutes. Yeah.
I got a question about changing unlock package data in a production org.
Sure.
So would that be overwritten every single time the package is upgraded?
Yes, so every time you install a copy of an unlocked package, whatever is there in the unlocked package is going to be deployed into the production org, which means, as Kevin showcased, you can have new metadata that gets inserted, existing metadata that gets updated. When it comes to metadata that has to be deleted, as you said, we have a bit of a wonky thing where some metadata is deleted, some metadata is deprecated and the reason why we deprecate is for two reasons. One, it holds end user data, like custom fields or custom objects that we want to err on the side of caution. And second thing is dependencies. Maybe you have installed the unlocked package and in the org you have made some extensions that has created references to it. So we don't want to break those references and leave it in a dangling state, so we deprecate them. But yes, at every upgrade, we do all these 4 operations. Insert, update, delete, and deprecate.
Thanks.
For the unlocked packages, is it possible to have a field that does, if I'm deleting it from an unlocked package, is it possible not to go into a deprecated state? So maybe I have components that I want to use and extend into other packages or other functionality that I want to remain in the org and use going forward.
So you're saying don't delete, only deprecate.
Well, not deprecate. I want to leave it in the org and make it available for other things, but remove it from that package.
We have capabilities for doing that. For example, once you have metadata in a package, there is a functionality called remove in the UI. You click the remove, the metadata gets removed from the package but stays in the unpackaged. So that's something that's available already.
Yeah, my question is unrelated to unlock package. I have a managed package, I'm ISV, so I'm building a dependency package. Somehow in the initial package, I have account record types, but for the second package, account record types are invisible, so I could not upload the package. I wonder it will be the same issue for the unlock packages too. So I have a record type on account, but the account, the data is not available, is invisible in the second package.
Let's connect offline. I want to better understand this use case and figure that out. Okay. Hey, thanks a lot. As I said, we'll be outside. We can continue this conversation. Thank you.